It's a new century. The U.S. workforce is competing in a global marketplace. The languages of commerce and international relations are fusing in ways unimaginable even 10 years ago. Never before has it been so crucial for U.S. businesses to invest in employees with multiple language skills and cross-cultural knowledge. Yet, U.S. employees lag behind their international counterparts in foreign language fluency. Their lack of knowledge about other cultures puts them at distinct disadvantages during high-level sales and trade negotiations. The damage to the U.S. economy is high. American companies lose an estimated $2 billion a year in revenue, and 30% of U.S. companies are unable to expand internationally. In California alone, exports to the state's top markets equal 1/4 of the state's $1.5 trillion economy. In return, over 1 million jobs in California related to foreign markets are at stake. The California State University Strategic Language Consortium responds to the call for a better prepared American workforce, eager for the international world of business, as well as government jobs in diplomacy and defense. 5 CSU campuses, each with their own language specialty, participate in the SLI consortium. The full language immersion program, which includes a 6-week on-campus residency, as well as interactions with local ethnic communities and opportunities for study abroad, is having the desired effect.
All right, well, my name is Billy Neumann. I was born in Los Angeles, California. Ironically, in Chinatown. I got to do a little more research this summer to figure out more about that. That's what my father says.
The SLI experience has been a life-changing experience for me. I know that a lot of the universities in California don't offer very extensive Russian language programs, and I really wanted to get in depth in my Russian studies, and SLI has opened a lot of doors for me. It's brought me further in my Russian language than I ever would have been able to do without it.
My name is Nirja Kapoor, and I'm self-employed paralegal. I also volunteer with the Children's Court, and I speak several languages. Learning languages is my hobby.
I'm a second-generation Vietnamese American. Both my parents are from Vietnam, so I grew up bilingual, Vietnamese at home, and I would speak English at school. And I started studying Mandarin 5 years ago at Cal State Long Beach as a freshman.
The SLI program has done quite a bit, actually. Cal State San Bernardino doesn't have a Russian program. And having studied 2 years of Russian in my undergrad, I wanted to keep studying. But I didn't have that option when I came to Cal State San Bernardino. And so when I found out about the SLI program, I read about the requirements and the things that it had to offer, and I just went with it immediately. I knew that's what I wanted, and it's been a big help in helping me develop Russian. So.
As I was researching about advanced level studies for Korean languages, there was not many options in the United States for Korean language. And I was also teaching Japanese, and when I was analyzing how can I improve my proficiency from an intermediate level to an advanced level, this scholarship program was a great opportunity since they had both cultural contents, linguistic contents, and a study abroad component within the program.
Growing up, I grew up in LA until I was about 7, then I moved to Orange County. Had an interesting background. I was always into languages. My parents are both from Kenya. They speak Swahili. They speak their tribal language, and of course English. And of course, growing up in Southern California, you can't get away from Spanish. I also took 4 years of that in high school. I took Latin in high school 4 years, and eventually I ended up going to USC. Started as a business major. First business class I took, I thought it was terrible, really boring. I needed to find something to get me going, so I ended up starting to take Chinese.
The SLI scholarship was so important to me. It was very important to me. When I received the scholarship, I was living in Sacramento, working a full-time job and trying to take classes at night. And it was taking me a long time to get through school. And when I received this scholarship, I went down to Cal State San Bernardino for the summer intensive program, and I learned so much. I was so amazed at how much I learned there that I didn't want to miss anything. I quit my job and I moved down to San Bernardino because I was so impressed with the classes there, and because of the scholarship I was able to do that. I was able to move and to not work while I took the classes, and I finished the Arabic program in a year.
In the SLI program, the scholarship meant the opportunity to study the language and reach a really high level of proficiency in the language, allowing me to communicate with people in Arabic-speaking countries, and also the opportunity to go abroad and actually experience the other cultures firsthand, directly, and immersively, and be completely surrounded by it and see the people. And really finally put a real face to all the descriptions that I'd read about in books and things like that, and finally make friends and have a real understanding, a real conception in my mind of what the Arab world is really like.
The scholarship was vital to me. I could not have participated in the SLI program without the scholarship. As it is, I do have a scholarship to study at university. It's how I get through, is by working hard and trying to maintain my grades, and without the scholarship I could not have participated in SLI.
SLI has helped me a lot to get to where I am today, because SLI was like a stepping stone. It's transformed me, like I mentioned before, to become more autonomous in language learning. And because of that, I've just been really consistent and persistent in improving on the language, like outside of school. And because of that, my Chinese has improved tremendously.
I gained a lot during the SLI program. We did a language immersion program last summer at Cal State Northridge, and that opened up a whole new avenue of language learning for me. In my classes and working with tutors, I was strictly focused on a book, and the books do all they can to try and help you get a feel for the culture and things like that, but it really just can't do that, and that's what the SLI program did. It opened the books to real life, being exposed to music, to literature, to history, to contemporary Russian society. And just all those things. It really helped the language come alive, and I was able to internalize it so much better.
Even though I was prepared with Korea in terms of language, I didn't understand the culture, so it was a little bit difficult for me to react even in many settings. But SLI program actually prepared me to apply different cultural knowledges, such as Korean people tend to move faster than our standards, and they also tend to think faster, so their response may be a little bit aggressive, but I want to be accustomed to the Korean speakers' style of aggressiveness into a more mild perspective.
Yeah, I found the excursions during the domestic Arabic program to be very helpful, because we got to go to a lot of places locally, very close by, that I hadn't been to before, that I didn't know about, restaurants and bookstores and clothing stores that I didn't even know existed. Now I can go in, and some of the people there might even recognize me. But it gave me the opportunity to see the culture sort of in action and understand how it works for people here in the United States, not just abroad. And then during our Arabic banquet at the end of the year, at the end of the program, it was nice to see a lot of those people that we'd met earlier come back and be there and be very supportive of us in the program, and be really interested in building lasting relationships with us, and through our ability to learn the culture and our interest in their culture.
As a volunteer, we are court-appointed special advocates. We get appointed on cases, we research and we investigate for the judge, and we help the judge make decisions on the children's cases and make recommendations to the court. Recently, I just got a phone call, and it felt really good because the call was, can you help us? You're the only Korean-speaking CASA we have.